Broadcasting live, this is the Handicappers Report, brought to you by the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany, and CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier online wagering site in New York State. CapitalOTBBet.com. Sign up today.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Handicappers Report, coming to you live from a soggy backstretch at Saratoga Race Course. I guess the good news is it's the morning after. Quick note right off the bat, the steeplechase has been canceled. We are off the turf. I don't know how much rain Saratoga's taken on before about 8 o'clock this morning when I got into town, but back in the Capital District, it took on a lot of rain. So no steeplechase today. So I guess that makes post time, about 1:20-ish. No turf racing today. But yesterday, horse racing in all its glory. Let's bring in Seth Merrow. Seth, good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, you said it in all its glory. Announced attendance. Well, they capped it at 50, and everybody I talked to said this was more than 50. But because they capped it at 50, attendance is announced 50 on the button. Handle 125 million plus, almost 126 million. And from what I understand that's a bump up from the record of a non-Triple Crown Belmont Stakes Day situation. So the numbers were very good. I'll just quickly run down just because I want to then roll into the Triple Crown season. Yesterday, Baby Yoda, I'm thinking now it was just a super long bounce. You run a 114, you need maybe a year or so to get back. Because Baby Yoda looked good again yesterday.
12 race
bounce. 102 though yesterday. Ice Chocolate 96, Croupy 93, randomized 99. Bookham Dano, that was fabulous. A 100 even. Cogburn, course wreck. It was just
North American record.
5.5. Under a minute, got hit 109, National Treasure 102, Measured Time 104, and Dornock 101. And my comment after that was, you look at these numbers and it kind of validates it. It was another really great day of racing. And so now we've had, 3 weekends of Triple Crown racing, going back to Churchill and Oaks and Derby Day, Black Eyed Susan and Preakness Day, and now Acorn and Belmont Stakes Day. And I think it's just been a really, really good Triple Crown with not just fun races for the 3-year-old fillies and the boys, but I think the undercards have produced really nice performances throughout the series.
I think the 3-year-old boys have dragged it down.
Well, they certainly, nobody has stepped it up at this point, that's for certain. But 3-year-old
You're always a soft, slow grader. I'm like, this is exactly what you kind of thought you'd see on March 1st. It's like, this is who they are. It's another year of just, good luck that the handicap horses are maybe men's events because, I said yesterday that I would not be surprised that anyone would win the Belmont Stakes at 1.25 miles. 26 and change coming home makes me wonder what the Belmont would have been at 12 furlongs coming home. It would have been, rough, but Dornock was certainly on the out to rim of winning, but what I think one of the great thoughts going forward for people like us that follow it every day is how the racetrack was yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure certain types of running styles had a fair shake on the day, and that's one of the great things about betting and going forward was. We like to say, was that on the square yesterday? I'm in the camp that maybe not so much. Watching the way the couple races were, maybe Idiomatic getting beat, maybe she had no chance and yet made it that close based on her greatness almost. But and Cogburn just made the Jaipur look like a joke. Kudos to him. And a race that I love, more than any other race other than the Breeders' Cup and the Triple Crown, the Met Mile was not that engaging. which it hurts my heart to say. One of the great races, National Treasure took it to him, and away you go. And like you said, the True North, Baby Yoda just laughed at him again at Saratoga. So
Bookham Dano off of that heartbreaker in Saudi Arabia, it looked good. It was a nice day of racing.
I'm going to be very interested watching going forward, to look back and see, because gosh, I'm telling you, I will say this. I thought I had, by the middle of the day, I thought my Belmont selections had no chance. I mean, two closers, I'm like, you have no chance. And I think it played out that way.
Yeah. Well,
and what a Barrio. Did he forget where he was?
You talk about the 3-year-olds this season. The best 3-year-old might have been on Friday.
Well, I think, I'm guessing her buyer speed figure was probably somewhere close to.
I got to look up hers. I don't think I saw hers yet.
I'm sure it was, I would guess, within 2 points of 100, 98 to 100. But hers was, for those who, I mean, when you go 46 and change, and it doesn't take anything out of you in a 2-turn 9-furlong race, that's substantial. And that's what she did. I mean, she was just right on that pace of FYI, and really was, and FYI was like exhausted, and Torpedo Anna was like not exhausted. Just, that was, as good a 2-turn performance on dirt for a 3-year-old filly in the first half of the year as you're going to see. I mean, she was tremendous, and we'll see what they have planned going forward, because
it's Kenny McBeaky's already talked about it. I mean, at some point, I would say we will see her face the boys. Where and when it will be, I don't know. But
is the idea that he wants to, would he run against Mystic Dan when he takes on the boys?
Oh no, he has made that caveat. He doesn't want to run them together.
It'll be interesting how it shakes out in the Travers. Maybe there's an allowance horse out there. Mind Frame, probably the surprise of the day for me. Inexperience cost him. But you know what, Seth? He might be the benchmark going forward of how skeptical I was of the racing yesterday, that he was able to run second. And maybe that's an indictment on the three-year-olds that, a horse making his third career start really
ran a little erratically, seemed to shy away from the whip, because I don't think they had to use it in the first 2 starts.
So
Torpedo Anna, I just looked up 99.
That would have been right, plus or minus 2. So, but now here's an example, Seth, of numbers, and you've taught me so about her 99. To me, was infinitely better than Dornock yesterday. I'm like, and that's how the numbers games work. So, but kudos to the folks out there, because they have embraced this. This is going to be tough. A lot of energy has been spent for 3 days, and now it's raining, etc. But everybody slept in. They're not going to miss anything. Get an extra half hour's sleep, catch up.
New York Showcase Day today.
Yes. We lost all the turf racing. We lost the jumps. So start your re-handicapping, as it were. We'll see what the racetrack plays like. I'm not a weather guy. It'll be what it'll be. I mean, it's supposed to rain more today. I mean, it's stopped now. That's why.
I think by afternoon it's going to clear up.
It's going to clear up. So, they get the track in great shape.
But all of that said, as far as weather and what they were talking about at the beginning of the week and what it turned out, you
would have signed up for
it. Knocked it out of the park.
That Sunday would be the
Thursday
day.
And Friday, a quick storm blew through both days. What was it? Friday, I think the storm was insane. There was wind and
I saw
rain,
but it only
lasted.
Twitter a bad tree fall down out by the jocks thing and everything. That had to be scary.
It was windy. I mean, you were looking out at the flags and it was coming down, but it only lasted a little while. Both days, pretty quick. And then yesterday was picture perfect for a nice day of racing.
You hang out with more industry people. It seems to be almost a fait accompli that this is going to happen again.
I think so. Yeah, no, I think the game plan was
no official announcement though, right?
A couple of years. I don't know whether there has been. No, I think it's always been. Even the NYRA people have said it may be 2 years.
Okay.
So I don't know. There's
Somebody put out a tweet the other day. It looked like an official thing, but in this day and age with Photoshop, you can't go there. That Belmont would be ready like third quarter 26, which would mean they wouldn't make the Belmont 26. And there was a picture on Twitter the other day. I don't know if it was most accurate of the grandstand is still coming down.
Yeah.
I'm like, isn't that like a 1 week project? Deconstructing, boom, boom.
I can't say what goes into that exactly.
Think about how long it take you to build something, then go wreck it. About people that do the dominoes things could tell you that. It took me 4 days to build this and it's done. But here's hoping we do it again. The town, the buzz, etc. So good stuff. It'd be as I said, I am extremely intrigued to see how these races, these horses, what this racetrack may or may not have been, which is great about opinions about this sport. If you think there was a medium bias, a weak bias, a strong bias, and you want to play against some of the winners going forward, usually you get a better price because people don't consider it. But the Triple Crown season is over. And I was thinking about this, Seth. What is this, like the 5th year in a row? 3 different winners? 4 years? Right. I mean, it's not usually a good sign ever. I can only think of one time when it didn't matter. It was 07 when it was Street Sense, Curlin, and Rags to Riches. Now, Rags to Riches never won again. She was 0 for 1. We know what Curlin went on to be, 2-time Horse of the Year. Street Sense may have apexed in the Derby, but that was one time when the 3 different winners, you were like, I like these horses going forward.
Well, and again, I said it here, I think during our Handicappers Report for yesterday, excuse me, I looked up the Derby points, the prep races this year, took out the foreign races, took out the Tampa Bay Derby with the betting situation. And then since the Kentucky Derby and the Preakness had been run, I counted those in. 25 races, 25 top races for 3-year-olds. There were 21 different winners. Now that held up again yesterday. So Dornoch with the Fountain of Youth now goes into that group of doubled up. The doubled up group was Encino, Catching Freedom. Neither of them were there yesterday. It was Mystic Dan and Sierra Leone. Dornoch now adds his name to that list of horses that have doubled up. He now has the
could Forever Young come back, win the Breeders' Cup, and be 3-year-old champion?
That's a great question.
The bar is not that high.
And I said to some people yesterday, it's just too bad. It was some kind of quarantine situation or whatever. He had to return. Because he certainly would have been interested.
Was it their rules or our rules?
I think it was there. Yeah,
I think it was there. He had to come back.
If he doesn't come
couldn't
back,
go back.
Or he would be in quarantine for quite a long time over there.
And I'm not dialed into that, but I think at the time I said this to you, going back to 86 with Bold Arrangement, he could only come for like 2 races. He ran in the Bluegrass and the Derby, and he ran second in the Derby, but he had to go. He had to go back. He wasn't competing in the Triple Crown. I think Clive Britton trainer. But I think it's safe to say the second half of the season for 3-year-old colts gets underway with the Matt win, and it's wide open. So you can
which bodes well for us up here because the Travers will play into the importance of a 3-year-old Eclipse. You would have to think the Jim Dandy even, but Haskell, Jim Dandy, Travers, Pennsylvania Derby. They
might have 7 different winners.
Yeah, it's going to
be
very shocking,
perplexing.
And it's going to be interesting to see what Mindframe does now going forward with maybe a little more seasoning under the belt. Because
obviously it's an aggressive group. It'd be probably hard to find an allowance race.
Yeah.
The 2X, etc. So see what they do. I mean, what the heck? I mean, what happens if you would run in the Alan Jerkins? Pull an Uncle Mo. It's like a 7/8 right up. I think, right up his door frame. And unfortunately, I was trying to think of this also. It's like, who's going to pull an Archangelo and be like, we'll see if the Travers off that. No race in between.
So it worked last year.
Yes,
I thought it was too much of a break last year, and
21st century racing, Mr. Seth. There's almost no such thing as too big a break. We'll see you at the Breeders' Cup. The true Saratogas of the Breeders' Cup, the boutique meet. Did you have a nice evening? Did you do your social agenda?
I didn't really do anything. I said to somebody else, hope this doesn't bode for the Saratoga season because we're 3 days in. I was completely wiped out the last couple of days.
You were here probably 13 hours yesterday before dinner.
I got home and collapsed both days.
You're not as young as you used to be. I don't want to dial you in. I mean, I already, gave into that idea years ago.
Then I took a header down the press box.
Oh, my God.
It looked way worse than what people are like. Well, are you all right? I missed like.
Well, headers usually look pretty bad.
I missed like the second to last step, and I kind of put my hand on the wall, and there was like a brief second where I thought, I'm going to save this, and if my other foot had hit the first step properly, I would have been fine, but it missed and so I went down in a heap, and like I say, it was 2 steps down, so it wasn't. But people are like running over. So I was like, yeah, only my pride is hurt here, folks.
And one thing I had to say, I mean, and I thought this would happen. I mean, kudos to the people that were breaking down the barriers when the gates opened.
Oh.
I mean, you are people after my own heart.
And big long line and whatnot. And Dornock certainly made some people happy. I ran into my friend Mike, my brother's old college roommate. I know he had some nice hits at the end of the day. So
wow.
That was fun. And I will also say hello to Amy and Joe. Because at one point I had to walk back to my car, so I'm walking here, and I was kind of putting myself in a selfie.
This was after the fall?
This may have been before the fall. Fall was toward the end of the day. And I was taking a selfie with myself with the grandstand in the background, and there was a couple there
16 years old?
Taking a picture. Selfie. I wanted to send it to my sisters. Hey, nice day, because they were both like, hey, hope you have a good day. So but a couple came up and they were taking a picture, and I thought, well, I'm in their way. I'll move out of the way. And then no, they're fans, and so give a shout out to Amy and Joe. They wanted a picture.
I told you needed that police escort.
They enjoy watching the show. So again, that was nice to meet them yesterday. Down from Queensbury, and they watch the show all the time. All right, I'm teeing up first, right? Because we're now moving to an even
time
race.
Is 1:22 now. So if you're just joining us. We've lost the jump. There's no turf racing today. There was, I don't know what time it started raining in the greater Saratoga, but it was.
Seems like it's
raining. No, it seems to have stopped. It was raining pretty good an hour ago, but right now.
I came in here Friday night. I had to do we did a Derby preview show for Channel 10, and we were doing it by Zoom. So I said, well, I'll go out to my set, and we'll have a nice background and everything set up. And, we're shooting the breeze before the show starts, just setting the line up for the show. I did it with Matt DeSantis from Naira and the folks at Channel 10. And I first of all, I said, you can't hear the music, can you? Because this is at the end of the day, Friday, and it was rocking at the Horseshoe. And they were like, no, we can't hear the music. Right. So it's like, oh, okay, this is going well. And the show starts, and immediately when the show starts, sun is bright, the sun is shining. It started pouring rain. And from being in here, it's pouring rain on the thing. I can't hear them anymore. The show starts, and now I've gone. And luckily, it only lasted like 4 minutes.
Under 10, we don't. I mean, I obviously be speckled, but we hear it before we see it.
Yeah, and it gets loud.
Yes.
But as I say, luckily, it lasted about 4 minutes. Little sun show. All right. Today's opener will be race number 2 with the cancellation of the steeplechase race. Second race on this Sunday afternoon. Again, New York Showcase Day, so there'll be plenty of New York bred action. But this one is open claimers going 6.5 in race number 2.
By the way, I think the only horse we didn't touch on, put me in the black for yesterday, Measured Time, who was fantastic in the Manhattan. The Godolphin and Charlie Appleby, had a couple of rough moments. English Rose the other day, but in the Manhattan down the road. 8-7-4 as we kick off. Funny joke, a huge price on the morning line. I don't care about the layoff lines. It might have been March of 23, but I do not care. I'm on the outside looking in. Number 7, knee deep in snow. I certainly hope not. Linda Rice, first off the claim, just did, a run of being nearly 20 to 25%. And in the form, she's listed as over 175 claims, and she's at 26%. First off, that's just deep water. And then number 4, Nolo Contesto, 8-7-4 in race 2, the opener, scheduled to go at 1:22.
I went 7, the 1 entry, 2, and 11. If you pick up the one sheet, I think I put my last pick as the 12, just because I was going off of PPs without numbers, and I went and looked. So again, it's the 11, not the 12. But on top, again, the 7, knee deep in snow, as you say, off the claim. Now, little concerning off the claim to me. Whenever this happens, they get claimed and then they drop off the claim. But Linda Rice is pretty clever with that. And the 40 to the 32, I don't think is a leap where you have to be too concerned. But again, off the claim for Linda Rice, Irad Ortiz hops on board. Horse comes in good form off the second last time. The one entry, Tetsu, comes in off a nice win last time. Claim, Rick Dutrow moves this one up off the claim. I do like those confident moves. And excellent timing, dropping in from a state-bred stakes race, which was an okay effort. The number was certainly good enough to fit with this bunch. 2 starts just before that were pretty good, though, in Open Allowance Company and the state-bred claimer, but they both had nice numbers, too. Emerald Forest in the 3rd spot. It's Javier Castellano for Wayne Potts. Claim 3 back for 50. They tried optional claiming company, not going in for the tag. So I think this is a little softer spot after a few starts. They've gotten a little bit realistic, and I think it'll be a cozy fit with this bunch. In the 2nd, I have at 7, the 1 entry, 2, and 11.
And also doing the accounting on the Linda Rice, etc. The purse is $62,000.
Yeah.
So winning will just more than mitigate the thing. I mean, that's a big time purse. On to the 3rd race. One of the, long-time staples. This has always been one of the better New York bred stakes races. The 7/8, I presume it used to kick off the Big Apple Triple. I don't know that such a thing exists anymore,
so.
which I thought was a great idea.
Yeah,
the 3 tracks
I agree.
in New York and, tying them in. But the Mike Lee at 7/8, this is actually probably one of the smaller fields. I remember this used to get fields of like 11, 12, 13 New York bred sprinting.
Well, the Wine Steward could have been in here and taking a pop at
should have
120,
been in here.
125. The Big Apple Triple was kind of fun. You got a little bonus if you could sweep, so it was always kind of fun. It started with the Mike Lee New York Derby up at the Finger Lakes, and then back here to Saratoga for the Albany. It was fun. It was a triple crown, so to speak, for New York.
Do you remember
Reds.
who captured it? I think it was only captured once.
When you say it, but I can't think of it.
Tin Cup Chalice.
Oh, right. Yeah, the crazy popular Finger Lakes horse. Yeah.
Mike LaCasey.
Yeah. And what's he?
And I forget it, but I will say this: what I remember about him winning it, though, when they came for the Albany, which was the Belmont, etc. I think Carlos Martin. There was a significant scratch that morning, made it almost a layup for him, but But I think he's the only one to ever capture it.
That sounds right. But it was a lot of fun, though.
Yes.
For me, I am 1, 6, 5, and 4. I'm going to go with the obvious in here, Antonio Venice. Off the last couple of starts, which were New York bred, state bred stakes company. Now, the last one was a New York Stallion series, which is a little bit different. You have to have a New York Stallion. You don't necessarily have to be a New York bred. Typically, they're full of New York breds, though. So, again, New York stakes action. Going back the last 4, similar situation. He's won 3 of the last 4, but he won both of the last 2 very, very convincingly. I'll stick there. Second slot, that's money. Lightly raced Pletcher horse, tried open company last time, but the 2 state-bred races were very good efforts. And then in the 3rd spot, Doc Sullivan, another one that tried open company last time, did it successfully. 2 starts back, tried that New York Stallion series with the Antonio Venice and ran second in there. So I think those are valid alternatives. But again, for me, 1, 6, 4, and 5.
Now, just a quick thought. Well, typically for us and what we do, I have to have my, we put our picks in before noon the day before. And I don't know how the racetrack's going to play with the moisture now, but I'm 4-6-1, and I think that I'm in a lot of trouble here because the racetrack yesterday and maybe with the offgoing Antonio Venice could be heck to pay in here. I mean, the race goes through him 6-5. I was hoping that there'd be some contention on the pace and I'd be sitting there, and I don't know that would have worked yesterday. So who knows? But I'm Doc Sullivan. I don't know that I'm going to get the trip. I like cutting back after a mile race. That's money for Todd Pletcher. Won the first 2 career starts against New York Reds, cuts back, tried Open Company, and then Antonio Venice, the 6-5 favorite, down inside. I mean, he's going to be tough in here. Another race where I'll be intrigued to see where the 6-5 price goes with the people. But 4-6-1 in this year's Mike Lee.
We're still up for a break here, right?
I would say 3-6-9 with the 12 race card on New York Showcase Day seems reasonable. We'll be right back.
For more than 4 generations, Bruce Cerrone and his family have continued the 102-year tradition of delighting their local following and faithful summer crowd with the finest authentic Italian recipes. Classic Italian dishes made with the freshest ingredients, served in a home-like setting. Some things have changed in the last 102 years, but not Pinnell's commitment to the finest in Italian cuisine. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, just minutes from the track.
The race for savings is going on now at DePaula Chevrolet. Pick your Chevy, pick your payment, and DePaula delivers. Or every Chevy, 0 down payment, 0 first payment, 0 security.
So come join the family and think DePaula for all your automotive needs.
Welcome back to the Handicappers Report on this. Is it? I guess it's closing day, right? Closing day of the Belmont Saratoga meet.
96 hours of glory ending.
It's been very good. But that said, there's still plenty of action here in that 10 o'clock show. Do want to alert you. We're expecting, hoping. You never know the day after a big victory, but we're looking to get Danny Gargan and Randy Hill in here from Dornock fame. Also hoping to get Jason Worth over. We have Clark Brewster from Cogburn, and we also have Beverly Steinman scheduled. Unfortunately, the steeplechase race has been canceled, but it was named after her, an inaugural edition up here at Saratoga. She's a longtime player in the game, breeder and owner and whatnot. So that is the expected lineup coming up at 10 o'clock. All right, 4th race today at Saratoga. Again, New York State Bred Day, New York Showcase Day. State Bred action in the 4th. Allowance non-winners are 1 other than 7 furlongs the trip.
8-5-6. I could be up against it here with the 8 scoring chance, the offspring of Good Magic. Jorge Abreu sends this runner out for the 2nd start of the year. Now, the December race was on a muddy sealed racetrack at Aqueduct and ran very poorly and went to the sidelines, came back in April. Might be a scratch out, might have been a non-issue. I do not know. But I would like a grandson of Curlin and Empire Maker to like the off going from the outside. Cap Ferret before the 2nd pick, Safi Joseph's winner on debut going 7/8 down at Gulfstream. And for 3rd, Spiteful Lily. Even money on the board for Jimmy Bond. A hole in the wind in the mud on debut in January. 8-5-6.
Yeah, I couldn't get past that big win in the debut effort. 6-5-9-7. Put that one on top. Close up second, though, and the buyer went back significantly in the 2nd start, which was off a pretty long layoff. So did the horse go the wrong way with the layoff? I'm going to look at that one as, they got the season started. It was a pretty good effort, and I'm looking back. I don't even think we have to get to that number from the debut. We can kind of split the difference and still be in pretty good shape. So I'll put Spiteful Lily on top. Cat Ferret in the 2nd slot of a decent-looking debut effort for Safi Joseph down at Gulfstream. But, hey, they have a New York bred first-level allowance for $90,000. Why not come up to New York and take a shot with a horse that seems to have a little bit of talent off the debut effort? and my Syria in the third slot, 20-1 on the morning line. I thought, when you looked at the complexion of the rest of this field, I thought this horse was a decent little fit in here. And at a price, I think this horse could be a little bit of a player. Again, with a couple of interesting races underneath that I think are going to mix it up with this bunch. Fourth race at Saratoga for me, 6, 5, 9, and 7.
Fifth race off the turf now to be run at a mile. And I'm not so sure that the single MTO is going to help that much. State bred maiden claimers in for 40.
I didn't change up my picks at all in here, but I did add the MTO at the bottom of the mix because, as you kind of alluded to, I don't know whether the MTO is jumping off the page necessarily, but I have it 5, 9, 13, and 12, and then I'll put the 16 at the bottom because
now I have to interrupt because I have a serious question here that I don't think we have the answer. Would they run 12 out of the chute? I guess they would have to, right? That would be yeesh.
Yeah, I don't know. Is that what it's been changed to, a mile?
Yes.
So will we run? Yeah, 1 mile. That's a great question.
That is so about traffic jam at the apex of that turn. But I guess if you're in the main body, I don't think they can uninvite you, can they?
It seems strange, but I would find it.
Maybe they're probably hoping for scratches in this case.
I would find it hard to
so
believe.
Because I think we have more than we. This will occur again today, going up to the mile.
So I put the 5 on top, one way or the other, turf or dirt. As you chase me, synthetic last time down at Gulfstream, but 2 dirt starts before that, or 1 dirt start before that, but a couple more dirt starts underneath. One of those was okay, and the one that was okay was at 6.5. The one that wasn't necessarily so good, 1.8 miles. So we kind of split the difference. But again, I just the main track only didn't attract my attention necessarily. So I'll take a shot there with the horse I had on top either way. Most importantly, it's maiden special weight to maiden claiming. Big Ego in the second spot. Only dirt so far on the resume. Hasn't been spectacular, but also maiden special weight to maiden claiming. I think that could be beneficial. On the also eligible list, Mama's Middle. Only dirt starts on the resume. Again, they aren't spectacular, but the numbers fit, and we're going maiden special weight to maiden claiming. So 5, 9, 13, 12, 16, again, depending on scratches for me in the 5th.
One of the things that I like to point out, doing it generally at 4 hours before post time is handicapping who you might think will stay and go. Now, this is a race where I think it's somewhat atypical that I think the vast majority will want to stay. I was even thinking that Awesome Force, who, the last 4 races have been on the turf, that Always Dreaming, regardless of what I think they live wet fast, won the Derby. And I'm like, the only horse I thought that might come that I would feel confident is 8 Kid Creasa. I would think they're probably not going to want to play, but the rest, I'm like, I think they're all going. I mean, that makes it a head scratcher, which I like, by the way. And I do think Malibu Margarita, the offspring of Malibu Moon, who, I realize the Thomas number is only 363, but when there's moisture in the racetrack, I'll take a chance. I have Unaudited, who was on the outside of the main body, and then Dancing in the Park, a first-time starter. So 2, 12, 7 in the 1 mile main track 5th.
Stakes action, race number 6, again, state-bred stakes action. Were named after the super talented commentator. They will go 1 mile and 1/8.
And if you ever want to see a stark difference, look up commentator's record, open company. And the New York bred races, he'd win by an average of like 10 lengths. Of course, he had that great Whitney win, and then he skipped a year, came back. One of the really stronger performers, New York bred in a long time, boy. 2, 5, 1, well, kind of similar. Drake's Passage to me seems to be the horse to beat, and even with these conditions, I'm on board going 9 furlongs. I like the seasonal debut, a beaten favorite. Got the popular 99 buyer speed figures. I did not know that you and Mr. Kevin like that. I don't want the 100. I don't want the triple buyer speed figure.
He's
too much pressure.
I would agree, though.
Yeah, too much pressure. So I'm following that. Donegal Surges is my second pick for Todd Pletcher, coming off the affirmed success. And then Sheriff Bianco from the inside, making the second start of the year, 2-5-1 in the commentator at 9 furlongs.
I have it 4-2-5-1, and I'll wait on Whittington Park and get a little deeper in just a moment, because that will be, I'll hint right now, the dark horse play of the day. But underneath, Drake's Passage comes in off of a 99 and a solid effort in the seasonal debut, and I would think stands a chance of moving forward here. And then Donegal Surges in the third spot. Nice win, 2-back, stepped into State Bred Company last time. Ran decently, but I think overall tosses in efforts that fit with this group. But again, going to take a closer look now at Whittington Park, because that is my dark horse play of the day for this afternoon. Wrapping up our friends at the Dark Horse Mercantile play of the day during the Triple Crown season. I got it off to a nice start the first week, going, 3 of 7 or something. And then the last couple of weeks, it's been a mixed bag. We've been hitting the board, but just haven't been getting it done. So we'll see if we can do it with Whittington Park. Had Marshall Graham from 10 Strike in a couple of days ago. This one trained by Jeremiah. I'm going to give a pass on the last couple, particularly the last one. At the Carter running fourth was okay, but there are a couple of graded stakes races for open company. I think getting back into State Bred Company, and you go 3 back in the Haynesfield, I think this one is going to move up notably. So I'm going to put Whittington Park on top. We're looking at 6-1 on the morning line, so a little bit of value for our dark horse play of the day. And again, the dark horse play of the day this afternoon, race number 6, horse number 4, Whittington Park, brought to you by the Dark Horse Mercantile and Impressions of Saratoga in downtown Saratoga. Go down and take a visit right on Broadway. They're a couple blocks apart on opposite sides of the street, but if you go down and browse around, you will enjoy it. Dark Horse Play of the Day, brought to you by our friends at the Dark Horse Mercantile.
We'll take a quick break. Remember, the first race, steeplechase, has been canceled. We're off the turf. We'll come back second half of today's closing day, Division 1, after this.
It only takes one upset to make history, and now you can be part of Saratoga's long tradition at the Dark Horse Mercantile. The Dark Horse Mercantile offers a carefully curated selection of clothing, gifts, and home decor, from one-of-a-kind vintage racing memorabilia to select brands like Barber and Under Armour, as well as exclusive Dark Horse branded merchandise. So celebrate the Dark Horse in all of us at the Dark Horse Mercantile, downtown Saratoga, where the smart bet is always the Dark Horse.
Come on.
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Whoops. My bad.
Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit rtn.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Race 7 off the turf. We run at a mile. No MTOs. They're all AEs, right? If my math is right here. So have at it.
Yeah, I didn't change anything up from turf. 10, 5, 4, and 9. The one's a little bit interesting as well. Rose Summer by Matoli. So, I think if we're on the dirt, we may be okay. I thought the career debut was decent. So I think this one is going to be all right, even with the surface, which if they stay in. And the connection's no better than anybody. So if they stick, I'll stick as well. Main special weight to maiden claiming. In the second spot, number 5 starts now. Plenty of early speed last time on the turf. Has one dirt start. It wasn't very good, so I'm a little bit iffy on this one. but we have a little more experience under the belt recently. Again, if they stick, I'll stick. Detonate in the third spot, one start so far. It was a dirt start, wasn't very good, but we go maiden special weight to maiden claiming. Connect is the sire. I like that one as a win early sire. So I'll stick. Again, didn't make up any changes. Turf or dirt here. I have a 10, 5, 4, and 9.
3, 9, 6 for me. Lucky and Gorgeous. See if they stay in. Pat Reynolds goes to Javier Castellano for second. Bossy Jeans, first time in for a tag. First seasonal debut. And for third, number 6 going out for Horatio DePaz, making the seasonal debut. Also first time in for a tag. 3, 9, 6.
Race number 8 this afternoon at Saratoga. It's the Critical Eye, $200,000 up for grabs. 1 mile and 1/8 is the trip.
Do you remember her?
I do.
Got the pink and white silks, pink with white polka dots. Scott Schwartz, right? The New York Red.
Okay.
I think she won one of the big Philly and Mare Open Company races.
Yeah.
Might have had Mike Luzzy on. 869. Fingal's Cave, who was so good last year for David Donk, exits the Ruffian into softer company, off-going. Midtown Lights, Brad Cox's runner, comes off of a victory in an open company, entry-level allowance, and then Buston Bay for Linda Rice on the outside. A Buston Stones trying to get 2 turns and 9 furlongs. Did it last summer. 869.
9, 8, 6, and 5. Similar ideas here. I put Buston Bay on top for Linda Rice off the nice win last time. Has won 2 of the last 3. They bookend a good second place finish. Still in very good form. Fingal's Cave going out for Dave Donk. Nice win. 3 starts back, but that was in December. The comebacker in April was an okay effort. The follow-up was a similar number. It was a worse finishing position, but both of those were an open company. Getting back into state-bred company becomes very tough in here. And Midtown Lights in the third spot off a couple of wins, most recently for Brad Cox. Seems like a player as well. In the 8th, 9, 8, 6, and 5.
Now, in the other race off the turf, we had a field of 10. This is in the main body, has 12 entered in the off the turf 9th race. It's going to be run at a mile. State bred, entry level allowance.
8, 4, 12, 10, and 2. And again, I didn't change anything up here. We'll see how that works out for me. But Gem Mint 10 has a couple of dirt races earlier in the career. They were okay. If they stick, I'll trust that. In the second spot, Laurel Valley. Again, some dirt races underneath. They're a mixed bag. The most recent dirt race I thought was okay. So if they stick, I'll stick as well. And then Union Trail showed some speed last time on the turf. Another one with some dirt races underneath. And another one with some dirt races underneath that are a mixed bag. But the most recent one, and off the turfer, I thought was okay. So 8, 4, 12, and 10.
And you want to, Bad Larry, who's the 16, the lone MTO, he's going to be parked far outside. Now, this race, if I'm playing the guessing game, I'm thinking my 5 might be coming out here. Only has turf races on the docket. I think this race, far more than the previous race, I could see serious number of defections from the main body here. And the also eligibles are mostly turf horses, so it'll be interesting. It's 254 on the screen. I don't know if the Offspring, the Paddock Passer, second start of the year, I don't know if they're going to stay in. Slap in the Face is highly suspect to me to stay in here. Laurel Valley, I'm with you, Seth. I think, this horse, if my horses scratch out the top 2, I'd be very happy with Laurel Valley on top. 254 in the off the turf 9th.
All right. We will take another break. When we come back, we'll complete our look at this Sunday New York Showcase Day card. Stay tuned. It's been referred to as possibly the best equine-themed gift shop on the planet. Impressions of Saratoga. Impressions of Saratoga, celebrating the Saratoga and equestrian lifestyles. It's your #1 choice for Saratoga souvenirs, apparel, and gift shopping. We have gifts for the entire family, and we're pet-friendly too. Visit us online at impressionsaratoga.com or come on down. Impressions of Saratoga, 368 Broadway,
downtown Saratoga.
A day at the track isn't complete without a night at the Horseshoe. Great food, hot music, and cold drinks. So why go downtown when all the action's just across from the track? The Horseshoe Inn at the corner of Nelson and Gridley.
For more than 4 generations, Bruce Cerrone and his family have continued the 102-year tradition of delighting their local following and faithful summer crowd with the finest authentic Italian recipes. Classic Italian dishes made with the freshest ingredients, served in a home-like setting. Some things have changed in the last 102 years, but not Pinnell's commitment to the finest in Italian cuisine. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, just minutes from the track.
Welcome back. Handicappers Report, Sunday closing day, Belmont at Saratoga. The 10th race is the Mount Vernon State-bred fillies and mares, scheduled for a mile on the grass, but again, no grass racing today.
Yeah, it'd be a mile. And this would be if I was, in the Times Union, the old public handicappers angle of you put the MTO on top, so if they get scratched out, it stays a turf race. Because in this race, Tough Street could be tough in this spot. So, we'll see what scratches come out of the Mount Vernon, which is usually laced with New York bred turf, not specialists. I mean, that's what they do. There's a nice series. You don't have to come off the turf. If you're guessing who's going to come out, I'd be like, well, the 2, the 4, the 5, the 6, the 8. They might all be under strong suspicion to come out, and Tough Street would be heck to pay in this race, but I'm Silver Skillet. Liam's Map, who has a victory at an off-going, has huge numbers for Tomlinson. Stay in. Let's go a mile. Let's find out. Use some early lick like National Treasure and just see if it works out for you. Overacting, I think, is an overreach to stay in for me. And then Linda's Vision, see if they stay in for my good friends here who helped us out on Belmont Day last year. 183, but the 10 obviously moves way up.
Yeah, and I do have a dirt pick, so you can take the chicklets off. I have a 10, 9, 7, and 3 on the dirt. I'm going to go with the MTO. They're getting the surface they want, coming off a nice win last time for Chad Brown, Michael Dubb and company. Stonewall Star, only dirt races on the resume, and the last one was a nice win. So that one's certainly notable. And again, you can take the chicklets off because those aren't my numbers anymore. And then the third spot, Sweetest Princess. Again, most of the recent races are dirt races, and so I don't think the surface switch is going to be a big obstacle. So for me, in the 10th, 10, 9, 7, and 3.
Ever tell you about my Bowery Stakes story here?
No.
I don't think I've ever told this story, but I had done a couple of summer shows with Tom and Nick previewing Saratoga. But when I started doing the handicapping shows, so I do week 1. I think I went like 1 for 9. But week 2, I cast the die. Patty's positive, $33 in the Bowery Stakes. It was run on a Wednesday in 98. And that kind of set the tone for a lot of things, as it has been. And so I always, a smile comes to my face annually.
Soft spot for the
oh, sure. I mean, Patty Shoe's $33. I was like, change the whole dynamics of it. So this is the Phillies State Breds going 7/8.
7, 5, 3, and 8. I'm going to put Landed on top. Comes in for Wesley Ward. Last race at Keeneland, and that was a nice victory. So now they're in New York against the State Breds, where they've done well before also. So I think on the return to New York, Landed becomes very interesting. La Banquera in the second spot. Debut effort was very, very good. We'll see if the horse can kind of go back-to-back. This is a tough ask to go straight from the maiden debut into a salty little stakes race, but certainly showed some talent. And Caldwell Loves Gold going out for Brad Cox off of a turf try last time. But the dirt races before are good enough to think this horse can mix it up with this much. For me, 7, 5, 3, and 8.
Oh, and I also guess like this is the old spelling of Bowery, right? Because we think of it as Bowery.
Yeah.
I think this is an older spelling, etc. But
Like
it's
the
not
Bowery boys.
Absolutely, yes, absolutely. I do not typically on off racetracks. I do not have like what I like to think of as strong opinions, but I do feel as if Landed, as Seth and I both agree here, is in a heck of a good spot. I mean, not only on form, cutting back from 2 turns to 7/8, but Medaglia d'Oro on the bottom side. Boy, Seth, and we've talked about it before, he'd be one of those circles with an X, superior mud horse. Boy, his effort up here in the Travers, right? It was about 8 degrees that day. 02. It was freezing cold. That was the summer Denise and I were engaged. And I was up here early doing this. I called her up. I said, dress like late autumn. She's like, are you kidding me? I go, it's very cold. It was wet. It was damp. But Medaglia d'Oro on the bottom side. This will be first time. I think they're staying in. I'm with Seth. I like Landed very much in here. Tough Love Torres going out at 10-1, my second choice. Good effort in the second start. They add blinkers today. Austria Cantheros for third. Sunday Girl. David Duggan sends out this horse trying to make it 3 for 3. 7, 6, 5.
5, 16, 8, and 2. I thought Body of the Field, Maker's Candy, I think is going to be perfectly fine with the surface switch. This is a horse that has shown some legit talent, so I'll go with Maker's Candy on top. Jackson Heights, main track only entrant. They get the surface they want. And then in the third spot, going to take a look at Eyewitness. Again, there's a dirt race last time that I think indicates the surface switch is not going to be a major obstacle. So 5, 16, 8, and 2.
So apparently I got so excited with my Patty's Positive story, I leaped over you.
You leaped over me?
Well, I'm supposed to introduce the odd number races, and you speak first.
Oh.
But obviously I spoke before you.
So what are you saying?
You introduced the 12th, and I speak. I got too excited, and...
Oh. No, I introduced the 12th, and you did the 12th, right?
No, the 11th.
Oh, so did I skip the 11th? No,
I am the problem.
Oh.
I got so excited, I bumped you.
But I'm asking, what have we missed?
We didn't miss anything. We missed the turn. So you introduced the 12th, and I was saying my, hyped upness, killed the flow, the synergy. That's like,
flow.
Well, whatever.
Flow.
It's live TV.
All right, so we're good. We covered everything.
No, we did not. The Kingston, the last race, 8 furlongs off the turf. Is that the number you just gave? Because I didn't.
Yeah, those were the numbers I just gave.
For the Kingston? All right, put up the chicklets.
So I skipped. I skipped ahead without the introduction. So we did that's bad for the flow.
395 for me. If you have the chicklets for the 12th, throw it up. It's off the turf. It's going to be run at a mile. Beefy field here. What's going to be intriguing to see? We have only one MTO. He doesn't, so Jerry the Nipper, my top pick in here. I had Bomb City Man and Maker's Candy at a big price, but unfortunately, we're off the turf completely. The jump race has been canceled. So off the top of my head, I think post time will be about 122. And they usually stick with that, which is smart. That's the number, Eddie. You just, people will be up here early. There'll be an announcement, I'm sure, about the first race being canceled, the steeplechase. And it's to show you that we're really on Saratoga form. It's a Sunday with Loose on the lead.
Yes.
Corralled Steve Bick to.
And I see Danny Gargan and Randy Hill are in the house. So we'll have them plugged in. I see Mr. Bick has arrived as well. So that's up next. Stay tuned.
We have a moment. It's just this was great. And I don't think this would be I think it'll be great next summer. I think this is we obviously cannot do it because you just, you can't change the distance of the Belmont at the last minute, but it once again, the locals and people from around the world. And that scene yesterday before the gates opened, I'm like, that's just a great job. So I don't know. What would you say? It's a 99% we're going to do this again, right? Yeah. It's going to happen that the Belmont Stakes will be at 1.25 miles. Next time, I will say this, and, I think it was a better horse race. Like I said, I can't imagine what the last quarter mile would have been yesterday based on what the last quarter mile was going to 1.25 miles. But it was quite a celebration of horse racing, which it often is here.
Yeah.
And the fans came out, and kudos, and the weather. If you had to say one day is going to be rough, you might have picked Sunday. And that's what it is. And I feel bad for the New York turf horses particularly because that's a good bunch. They show up. It's usually good field sizes, etc. But we'll be back in studio, I guess, next week.
That's the game plan.
So we were at plus 61.16. So unless they card 31 races next Saturday, we are going to get to Saratoga. With the water will be like here on the chin, but we will be above it. Have a great Sunday, everybody. Make the best of it. There will be opportunities. Up next, Loose on the Lead.
You're watching OTB TV, a service of Capital Off Track Betting.